Just before we get into today's video, I would like to take the opportunity to thank Undoomed for my intro, Curious Cucumber for the backdrop you see, and Christina Prime, who you should all go sub to, for my avatar updates. There are more to come, and I can't wait to show them all to you. Now today's video is a bit of an interesting one. It concerns the NHS and a debate I saw in passing on Facebook. Yes, I know Facebook. Who knew it still existed? But someone I know posted a video of a debate on some trashy morning show. The debate itself was rather interesting, and some of the language used even more so. So I thought, let's have a little look at the debate on IVF.
We really need to reframe the idea that in order to have a family and live a fulfilled life, you have to have what is considered a nuclear family, a woman and a man who are married, and one of them gives birth to a baby.
I think it's pretty clear why I took such a keen interest in this particular debate. And for those interested, the argument is supposed to be in support or against the NHS providing IVF treatment to those who struggle to conceive. Her counter-argument is rather magical. And let's not forget here for a second, the majority of people want to settle down and have children.
That's not the reality that we live in.
Oh well, of course, I should offer a correction. Not just men and women, gay and lesbian couples as well may want to settle down and have children. Something I have seen in fact on a TV show called World's Strictest Parents. Of course, the lesbian couple set a precedent for it because they struggled to get gay rights for adoption, and I believe it was the same for the two men in New Jersey.
And it's problematic that we're reinforcing this idea.
It's a real shame that you're using the argument of IVF, pro or against, to push the idea of chastising something that the majority of people in fact support or are a part of themselves.
It's problematic for women and for the wider community.
Women and the wider community are not separate classes here. Believe it or not, there are men out there that want to have children, some of whom don't wish to have partners or be married. Some, more well-known ones, have gone down the IVF route, in fact, courtesy of a surrogate mother. Most famous of which being Cristiano Ronaldo, or, and if you're old enough, Ricky Martin.
If I could just interject here, again, we're talking about opinions, and I think it's really important that everybody has an opportunity to express their opinions, but equally we are talking about the real world.
Ignoring the host of this, take a wild guess who is the journalist and who the honorary treasurer of the British Fertility Society is. Guess who is going to be operating with reals before feels, and who is going to be operating with feels before reals. Who's going to be operating with years of experience in the field, and who's going to be operating with heavy political bias and a very, very narrow narrative.
The emotions that you were describing are very, very real, and I'm exposed to them every day, of couples, young women, slightly older women, who do experience the reality of this yearning to have a child.
And I 100% agree with this argument. I have of course already listened to the entire debate. This small snippet, this 2-minute clip that we are covering should be sufficient. Now I do have some bias, I will be open about it. I have family, close family, that have had to go down the IVF route to conceive. There is nothing wrong with that. But when you want to have a family and you get older and older and it gets harder and harder to conceive, the only options left include adoption, IVF, fostering of course being pigeonholed with adoption, or settling for many, many cats. Something I think the journalist will probably be doing.
I think we find ourselves in a vicious cycle though.
What kind of vicious cycle are we in when we use an already existing system to assist those who are struggling to conceive by aiding them to conceive?
Because, as you mentioned, you do accept the possibility that this is social conditioning.
Please tell me you're not going to latch on to the idea that the only reason people want to have children is because of social conditioning. There are so many factors involved that I think you're overlooking some of the more important biologically related ones that can be proven to play a part in one's desire to have children.
I accept the possibility that there may be an element of social conditioning, but I also say that this is a reality that people are facing, that real human beings feel in in their beings that they wish to follow this path to have a child.
While not a very high birth rate, certainly when compared to other nations, it is definitely still something we must deal with to defeat this social conditioning. The same social conditioning, of course, that leads so many other people from, say, Pakistan to have over 3.5 children per woman. Or are we only talking about the West here, taking responsibility of the excessive birth rates of other nations on our shoulders?
Whether or not it's social conditioning is actually not necessarily relevant. We can discuss the political issues that may have led to the situation that we're in.
We could indeed discuss the political issues, one centering around why aspects of the NHS have had to be sold off. Unfortunate, I know, but I also accept austerity had to happen and things had to be done to try and balance the books. We're not there yet, but give it time. Anyway, we are deviating from the subject.
I do think it's incredibly relevant because so long as the government is funding IVF and presenting it as a #1 option to people who want to have children and aren't able to conceive naturally, then we're never going to get over this ingrained idea in our society that a woman's role in life is to give birth, and if she doesn't, there's a problem.
You ever get to a point where you realise someone has said something so incredibly stupid you just don't know how to reply without pointing out that the person who said it is incredibly stupid? I mean, I would call her a plonker, but I don't want to waste it on her. I just don't know what to say.